Hi, my name is J.C. Saunders, and I currently live in Waterloo, Ontario, where I'm currently pursuing a master's degree in pure math at the University of Waterloo. Today I would like to speak to you about my experiences in living with high-functioning autism. 3 weeks ago I gave a presentation for the Waterloo Autism organization where I talked about my experiences with autism. And today I would like to spread my advocacy and share them with you all. So first I'll begin. First I'll tell about who I am, first of all. I'm from Sydney, Nova Scotia. I'm 24 years old. I have a joint undergrad honors degree in math and philosophy from Acadia University. Besides my academic endeavors, I also like to write novels. And my life goals are to pursue graduate studies in math and philosophy, and hope to combine all my passions and try to write science fiction novels about autism, math, and philosophy. So that's a little bit about myself. Now I would like to move on to a key element in how autism played a role in my life. This would be in the social aspects, in the socializing. So when I was 5 years old, I was extremely quiet, very introverted, and I was always being a quiet little kid. And when I entered elementary school, I was put into speech therapy for several years. I did have some friends in elementary school, but we eventually drew apart because of different interests. I was into math and they were into sports, for example, and let's face it, what 10-year-old child is into math? So it was, the socializing was difficult in that aspect as well. And I had a natural tendency to do solitary activities. And so that kind of dampened my relationships with my peers as well back in those days. When I was a teenager, things kind of changed a bit. I was overall respected by my classmates, but didn't develop any real friendships, connections with them, because of not being motivated enough and feeling awkward. Mind you, they liked me and I liked them, but there was no real connection there. They were just like acquaintances in my eyes. I guess it was in the back of my mind that I wanted to make friends, but because of fear and yeah, not being motivated enough, I didn't really do anything about it per se. But while that was in the back of my mind, what was at the forefront was wanting to get a girlfriend. I've always wanted a girlfriend. I've yet to find her. I'm sure she's out there somewhere waiting for me, and I waiting for her. But yeah, but when I was 13, I was like developing all these crushes on girls, and I really didn't know what to do or what to expect. So yeah, I was very confused over that. I was too shy to approach girls I had a crush on, and as a result, I became very frustrated because I couldn't find any structure or rules to follow in my navigation. Of course, I know now that the social world is incredibly vague and it can't be reduced to black and white rules like in math. But back then, this wasn't quite apparent to me, and so yeah, I was very confused. And so, yeah, in grade 8, I actually developed a crush on this particular girl, and I was very quiet about it, but in grade 9 it got out, and my classmates all found out. And I was like, I wasn't really sure about how it would play out, like how my classmates would take it. It turned out it was fine. I tried asking this girl out to a couple of school dances. She unfortunately had other plans, and so it didn't really develop that much. But during the summer between grades 9 and 10, my crush on this particular girl developed incredibly, and I ended up having the courage to actually phone her home several times, trying to get a hold of her. I did, but my confidence failed in me when trying to ask her out. And then when I found out she already had a boyfriend, that was pretty devastating in and of itself. But it motivated me enough in grade 10 to actually ask out several girls. Then I suppose some of them I could have known a bit better. Some of them I could have tried to talk to beforehand. It was all rejections, but that didn't really matter all that much. The point was that I was motivated enough to do that. And yeah. And so life continued on throughout high school, and one activity and school activities made me interact more with peers back then, because they were structured activities. One activity that really motivated me, that really helped, was the high school math league, where we got into groups and did math and competed against each other doing math questions in teams. That helped because it was an activity of something that I enjoyed, and like I said, it was structured. And so then we enter my university years, when I entered Acadia University. Things changed then. I became more motivated to achieve closer friendships. In second year, for example, I decided that I really wanted to do something about it, and I went to see a counselor. She suggested to me that I tell peers about my autism, and I was very surprised at this suggestion, I will admit. I never did so before that point, and so I was pretty nervous about how they'd react. So the first time that I told someone, yeah, it turned out all right. It was in a comfortable setting in a dorm room, and yeah, she respected me, and it turned out all right, because she now knew how my mind worked. And so during third and fourth years at Acadia, things went a little off the rails again, because the friendships that I had made in second year, they kind of distanced, and we just became acquaintances again. This was due to a couple of factors. One of them was, well, university is a busy time for us all. And so we all got bogged down in work, and it became difficult to pursue friendships because of that. And I also moved out of residence and into an apartment in my final year. And so instead of being separated by a couple of doors just down the hallway, we were now separated by buildings and even streets. So it was pretty difficult in that respect. Another thing that really frustrated me about living with autism was how long my reaction time was in conversations. My mind didn't work as fast in conversation. I had difficulty putting my thoughts into words as quickly as my peers. And so I got behind when I tried to do conversations with them. That was pretty frustrating in itself. And so that was my time at Acadia University, pretty much. Between the summer, before I came to Waterloo, and after I graduated from Acadia, a couple of things happened. One of them was that I searched the internet, and lo and behold, I discovered blogs by other autistics. This helped tremendously because it made me feel not so alone, because I discovered that a lot of these autistics were having experiences just like me, and it really helped in that respect as well. And so as a result, I started my own blog. And in the info box, I have the address. It's acceptingdifferences.wordpress.com. I certainly hope you visit it and that you find the information there helpful if you know someone who is autistic or you're on the autism spectrum yourself. And then when I came to Waterloo, I unfortunately had a bit of difficult time in my first term here at the university. Not really much in a social way, but in an academic way, which is pretty surprising because I've rarely had any difficulty with math before. But during my first term here, it was very difficult for me. Mainly because, well, I double majored in math and philosophy at Acadia, so I missed out on some math that I could have taken back there, and so I was a bit behind in my undergraduate background. So being behind in that respect caused a lot of frustration for me. I've fortunately since made up for that background during last winter and the summer that just passed. And I'm now back into the regular master's program here. So even though this experience wasn't exactly enjoyable, it really turned a light on for me, because all of a sudden I wasn't so good at this one subject that I was always very good at, math, and that kind of helped me in a way, because it was like I had nothing to hide behind. I'm a perfectionist, which is another way that autism influences me. Like I always have this thing that I have to do everything perfect, and I can be very hard on myself if I don't achieve my standards, but during last fall, I certainly didn't achieve them, and it really opened that up for me, because hey, if I can screw up in this one subject that I'm certainly very good at, maybe I can screw up in other areas of my life as well. And it really helped in that respect, and that really helped me as well, because it led to a whole lot of other things. Like, I'm not really perfectionistic about my academic studies anymore. That doesn't mean I'm not striving to do well. I certainly am, but I'm not banging my head every time I don't pull down a grade that isn't perfect. And so it really helped because I applied it to other areas in my life. For example, my social life, and it led me to believe that I didn't need a girlfriend, or I didn't need friends for me to be happy. I'm certainly pursuing those things, but I'm not counting on them for my happiness. So another thing that autism shapes me is my ability to time manage, because now I'm very good at scheduling my time, so now I'm very good at balancing my time between my academic life, my fiction writing life, and my social life, which are three very different things. And so it helps me to keep my life balanced in that way. It also helps me appreciate how different I am from others, and that I just strive to be who I am and not let anyone else tell me to be who I should be. I just rely on myself and use my own judgment. For example, I don't mind being the only guy in my Zumba class full of girls. I love Zumba. It's a great physical activity, and I absolutely enjoy it. And so that's all that I have to say today. Feel free to comment. I certainly hope this helped. Thank you.